Today is an exciting day on Plant-Based Kidneys Kitchen. I'm here with a special guest, Dr. Mariselis Rosa, who's a pediatric nephrologist and a plant-based chef from Miami. Thank you, doctor, for being here and joining us today.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very excited to do this
I'm
together.
excited too. You're going to demo one of your tasty recipes, and it's a rare find to have a kidney doctor that is also a chef. So I think we're very lucky to have you here. And obviously, we both share a passion for helping people with kidney disease get more plants in their diet and help to protect their kidneys. So before we dive into this recipe, which is Turkish lentil bulgur meatballs, but of course, a plant-based version. Can you give us a little background on you as a nephrologist and also as a chef?
Yeah, so first of all, I grew up in Puerto Rico, and then I trained here in Miami to be a pediatric nephrologist. And I always had this passion about food. And my grandfather was a chef, and that motivated me to do that later at some time in my life. So then after I finished my training, I decided to become a plant-based chef because I know when my patients eat this type of food or diet, it helps them to prevent the progression of their kidney disease. So it's very difficult to add, sometimes it's difficult to add plants to their plates. So that's why I decided to get more recipes and learn a little bit more so I can give them more options.
That's awesome. Well, we're lucky to be here with you. I'll turn it over to you. At the end of it, we'll go over the nutrition information, kidney specific nutrients, but I'll let you go ahead and dive in and explain and teach us how to make this recipe.
So, first of all, don't judge me. I'm not from Turkey, and this is a Turkish recipe. I learned it when I was doing my training in a Turkish restaurant, and it's completely plant based. And I did a little bit of a modification. For example, I added an ingredient that they usually don't add, which is dill, and the traditional one doesn't have that. And usually they add Aleppo peppers. It's very difficult to find that in the supermarket. So I added paprika instead and pepper flakes to add a little bit of a kick to the spicy kick to the recipe. But the rest is basically very traditional from these Turkish bowls. I don't even know how to pronounce them. I can just mention it.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's like Mercimek Köftesi. And Köftesi, it comes from like meatballs.
Okay.
So it's like vegan balls or meatballs. So it is traditionally they use red lentils, bulgur. We use yellow onions, three different herbs, fresh herbs. We do parsley, dill, and we also do green onions, tomato paste, paprika, red pepper flakes, cumin, pepper, and lemon juice. And then they add this ingredient which is called pomegranate molasses. I use one brand that doesn't have any added refined sugars. Awesome. It does have a little bit of dates, but it's optional. Some patients with transplants that they are taking immunosuppressive, maybe they shouldn't eat anything with pomegranate because it can interfere with their medication. And I always measure my salt. Yes. So it has half teaspoon of salt. And then we're gonna start.
Let's do it.
I already cooked the lentils, but I wanna tell you how I did it. Let me put this away. So basically you use a pot, of course, and then you get a 1 cup of red lentils and you cook it with 2 cups of water and you let it simmer for at least 10 minutes until they're soft. And then as soon as they're done, you add half a cup of bulgur and then let it simmer for another 30 minutes, but covered so the bulgur can get soft and cooked. Okay.
Yeah, bulgur takes longer to cook.
Yes. So then as soon as everything is cooked and soft, it will create like a paste because all the water will reduce down. If you feel like it's a little bit watery, you can drain it a little bit to take out as much water as you can, because you want like a paste like this. So you want a consistency that you can just like grab it, right? And usually you need to let it cool down so to be able to shape it, otherwise you can get burned.
Yeah.
And also it's not gonna hold the shape if it's warm or hot. Usually it's served like that at room temperature or cold. So then using this paste and this mixture already, then we're gonna prepare the rest of the ingredients. You have to cook the onions and make them a little bit soft, so then they can mix well with the mixture.
Okay.
Turn on the heat.
And what are you going to saute the onions in?
I'm gonna use olive oil.
I thought it was interesting what you were telling me about this recipe, about how, so because once the lentils and the bulgur are cooked and you let them cool, you're adding all of those spices and herbs and then the cooked onions, but you don't have to cook it after that. You're just forming the balls and then you're able to eat them. So, um, why is that? Where did the recipe traditionally come from? And
So I don't know exactly all the details, but it's a traditional way to eat it in the street. Apparently in Istanbul, usually you eat it these meatballs with, you wrap it in some type of lettuce, and it's served like at room temperature or cold. And before, in the past, apparently, usually it was a recipe with raw meat. That's what I heard. Don't judge me. And but people got sick apparently from the raw meat, so they decided to create this vegan version that you don't have to cook it after, right? It's just raw. You cook the lentils, but then
right.
you eat it cold, and it seems and looks like rare meat.
So interesting.
Raw meat.
Which another perk of just a plant-based recipe is you don't have to worry about, the foodborne illness or getting sick if the temperature is not right for it. So,
and you can make it in advance, and then if you have a party, you can serve
right.
it as an appetizer, or you could use it and serve it with a side, because it's just protein. It's plant protein.
Yeah, very versatile. Another question, I know while you're sauteing the onions. So for you as a pediatric nephrologist, how do you help your patients to prioritize food and nutrition and getting more plants in their diet?
So, for me, I always tell them that I don't want to increase medications. That's the number one thing. And the way to do this is to eat healthy, right?
Yep.
So, for example, if they're in a low phosphorus diet, then I just don't want to increase the phosphate binders
Right.
doses. So I tell them, if you don't want to take more medication, try to, eat more plants, which you're probably, I have learned that they get up, the phosphorus gets absorbed less from
Mhm.
plant
Yep.
sources. So then we don't have to continue increasing medication. Then means that you can have more complications, more hospitalizations, more dialysis, and all these things that, but I tell them that you need to help me with their food, so we don't have to do all this extra medical care.
Well, your patients are so lucky to have you supporting nutrition so much and emphasizing it, because I think sometimes people feel like that they don't get that, or it's lacking. So
Yeah, and it's cool because they're not used that doctors tell them, in the same appointment, give them like a recipe or like do this the lentils this way or so, or I have a page in Instagram that I also post some recipes. So I tell them, okay, look for that recipe and try to do it at home. Because, yes, I can tell them eat more veggies, eat more fruits. That's what I used to say before my training in plant-based. But it's better to tell them more examples and tips.
Yeah, because otherwise they don't know, how do I eat more vegetables if I don't know how to cook them or anything like that.
And if you have noticed that, some patients, like, they eat the same veggies all the time, like broccoli or spinach, but so many options in the supermarket, and not necessarily doesn't mean that they don't like it, they don't know how to cook them.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So what is your Instagram? Can you share that with everyone so they can follow you?
I have two. One is Kidney Lovers, which I talk about kidneys, how they work and how to protect them. And the other one is called culinary.art lovers.
Okay.
You can share it later in the link or something.
Yes, I'll put the links in for it.
And I just post recipes, but I want to be honest, I am not 100% plant-based, but I do try to add like 80% on my plate to be plant-based. And and sometimes I post other recipes that are not 100% plant-based, but just so you know.
And honestly, people don't have to be 100% or 0%. I think finding it's more practical for majority of people to be, whether it's 60, 80, 95, 100. I mean, the goal really is just the more whole plant foods we can get in people's diets, helping protect their kidneys. And that's what the goal, and just teaching people how to do that. So it's not an all or nothing where you have to be vegan to be plant predominant and see benefit from the ball.
Right now, the onions are already soft.
Awesome.
Don't burn them. And then we're gonna add tomato paste.
Okay.
And tomato paste, it's a very intense tomato flavor. And the goal is to warm it a little bit so it activates all the flavors. Okay. And then you mix it with all the spices.
Okay. So you're adding that into the pan with the onion sauteing, right?
I want to mix everything together with the onions.
Okay.
So I'm adding the paprika, the pepper flakes, the black pepper, the salt measured, remember, and cumin. What else? And that's it. And then we mix everything together so everything is combined. I will show you as soon as everything is mixed.
And I just want to throw in there, anytime people hear, I feel like in the kidney disease world, they hear tomatoes, they're like, oh no, it's high potassium. So I just want to say, one, everyone has different potassium needs, but even with tomato paste, it's this concentrated amount that's used in a recipe that makes, many servings. And so that potassium is spread out. Lentils are more moderate to sometimes high potassium, but we're spreading it out amongst multiple servings and adding other things. So overall, the entire recipe is not super high in potassium.
Exactly. Let me take it out so you see how it looks like.
Okay.
So, as soon everything is mixed together, it looks like this.
Okay.
So the tomato paste with all the spices and the onions, and then. Now that we have the paste already cooled down, then you add these.
Okay, so add that all to the lentil bulgur mixture that's cooked.
Everything, all the goodness there. All the flavors.
Yes.
And then you add all the rest of the ingredients. So dill, the parsley, the green onions, lemon juice, and the pomegranate molasses, which is optional. Sometimes we tell our patients to eat less salt. And they say, oh, my food is not gonna have so much, no, it's not gonna have flavor. But for example, adding all these other ingredients like paprika, cumin, pomegranate molasses,
Yep.
you know, we add so much tomato paste. All
That's
these
a lot
flavors
of
get
flavor.
together, and you don't need to add more salt to your food.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like you use a little bit of salt in the recipe, and I'll put the
Yeah,
ingredients and portions and all that in the note section, but you're using some salt, you're just not using a high amount. So it's enhancing also all those other flavors, I feel like, but it's keeping it low sodium overall.
exactly. It's not that you're not gonna eat salt anymore. It's just like be a little bit more, measure it and try to use other ingredients that can enhance the flavor. For example, the lemon juice, it's amazing. I use it almost in everything.
Me too, lemon and lime. So while we wait, then let's go through the nutrition information
Yes.
for them. So overall, the recipe, and you're going to form the balls in a minute, but it makes 24 balls. And so depending on, how much, if someone has this as a side with, a plate of veggies, or they want more or less. But if one serving is 3 balls, then the nutrition info per serving is 164 calories, 7.5 grams of protein, 26 grams of carbohydrates, 5 grams of fiber, 162 milligrams of sodium, 322 milligrams potassium, 114 milligrams phosphorus. And then I always like to calculate the PRAL, or the potential renal acid load, and it's negative 0.3 PRAL. So slightly negative, basically a neutral PRAL, which is great for kidney health and kidney disease. You're going to form the balls and put them on the lettuce, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's
And you
see.
just like put your hands there and mix everything. This is the fun part.
Fun part for you. Some people might be like freaking out right now that your hands are in it.
It's okay, so whatever. But all the flavors needs to penetrate, and it looks like they're not perfect balls. They're like how do I say it?
Like they're
They're
kind of pressed a little, like almost like a nugget, right?
uh-huh. Let me show you an example. Let me mix everything together. So then I
And
can
do you
see.
know how long, let's say, obviously, this is making 24 balls. So if someone makes this, how long would this be good in their fridge for?
Okay, so I put everything in an airtight container. So usually in an airtight container it can last like 5 to 7 days.
Cool.
I'm not sure how the taste will change if you freeze them because I never done it.
Okay.
Because I try to make at least this type of things fresh.
Right.
But if you have them already made, like for the week, you can do meal preps,
Yep.
will be great, at least for that week.
Yeah. And someone can always try freezing them and see how it is. Let us know.
So then you just get it and you make it like this, like you make a little ball.
Okay.
And the traditional way that they present it in Turkey is like you press it and then you get this shape. Like this.
Okay.
And then you put it in the lettuce.
Okay.
That's it. And then it's the size is like, you can make it as big as you want, but if you want to make 24 balls with this recipe, um, they measure like approximately 1.5 inch.
Okay.
They look cute.
Yeah. Super cute.
And then yeah, and it's just have fun making them.
Love it. And again, people, I mean, you can serve it on the lettuce leaves. I love that. But you could have it over a salad. You could have it probably in a wrap. I mean, pretty much anything someone would do a meatball type of dish. You could
Mhm.
probably even bake it if you wanted and have it in like a warm pasta dish, I bet. So, when you eat this, do you put anything, like, do you add any like lemon juice on top or hot sauce or anything like that?
So usually how you eat it, you get it like this. Let me see. And then you just like squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on top, and then you just eat it.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Well, now I'm hungry and I'm going to have to make this recipe. And I think that people seeing a recipe like this that has lentils, has tomato paste, that has ingredients that we might be fearful of. Again, we went over the nutrition information. It's not sky high in potassium. It's very doable. It gives you fiber and plant protein. It's low in sodium, even though there's a little salt, but you used other flavors to bring in and enhance that. And so I just think that whether someone is on dialysis or not, or they have stage 1 or stage 3, knowing the nutrition information for these plant-based recipes makes it so you can fit it into your diet in portions and with other foods that fit your individual, nutrient needs. And that's really the most important thing. And what we hope to share with our channels is, hey, here's a recipe, here's a cooking method, here's nutrition info, and then hopefully we can help people get more plant foods and protect their kidney. I'm going to put your links, your social links as well, so people can find you. And you have great videos of like food tutorials and things like that on your Instagram too. So that's really helpful for people to see. But thank you, Dr. Mariselis, for coming on. This is really fun, a fun, new, different thing. Anything that you want to end with or say?
No, I'm gonna finish the bowls and I'm gonna send you a picture so you have a whole picture how they look.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming on. And everyone, if you try it, comment, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I hope that when you come to Miami, you let me know so we can.
I will. I definitely will.
Okay.